What's up, everybody? What is this? Another video in 2 days. Who is this guy? So I'm back. Thank you everyone for checking out the video the other day. First one I've done in 3 years. It's fun to be back. It's fun doing these. Fucking with the camera here again. I'm not editing this at all, so I'm gonna upload it straight from my phone. Editing these is the reason I stopped doing this 3 years ago. I got tired of transferring it to my computer and editing it and exporting it, and it would turn into this several-hour ordeal when I can just record it and upload it. So fuck production values. Okay, so I'm gonna do a CD collection update. That's what started this whole thing, however many years ago, was going through my CDs. We left off 3 years ago in the M's, so I've got a stack of M's. First, we are listening to Exumed, still my Exumed kick. Last video, I listened to the Hemdale Exumed split, and then I just have been on an Exumed kick. So we're listening to Slaughter Cult, their second album. I absolutely love Exumed. Exumed was one of the very first extreme metal bands I ever went out of town to see. I saw them on the Gore Metal tour in August of 99, I think. Something like that. August of 99, 26 years ago. And I remember eagerly awaiting this album coming out. And it's up there. I'm not sure if this is my favorite or Gore Metal is my favorite, but I love this album. Love Exumed, love Matt. I got to hang out with Matt late last year. Decapitator, their thrash band, played here in Atlanta and played a fest, and I'm really good friends with the guys that put on the fest, and they said, hey, we need you to pick someone up from the airport, and it was Matt Harvey and Cole, the drummer, Cole Jones. Cole's a drummer on this, original member of Exumed, no longer in Exumed. He's in Decapitator with Matt. So I picked them up at the airport and drove them all over Atlanta for a couple of days. I was their taxi to and from the airport and the venue and the hotel for 2 days. So we got to hang out and just chat metal, and it's really cool. I'll tell you, I've loved Exumed for 25 plus years, and I have all their albums, all their stuff, love them. So going, into that, say, hey, I have to pick up Matt Harvey at the airport. I'm like, this would be cool. I'm gotta be cool. Don't fucking just go wild about how much you love his bands. So pick him up on the curb at the airport, and he gets in my car, and the first thing he says is, how was your Father Befouled tour? Because we had just gotten back from a tour a couple weeks before that. And turns out he follows my band and knew that we had just been on a European tour, and it was the coolest shit ever. So shout out to Matt and Cole, great guys. Okay, so we left off 3 years ago in the M's, and I think this was the next stack. So this CD I actually have bought since then, and it got stuck in there, but this is Morgoth Odium. I bought this on a whim sometime last year. Yeah, I had to go. I live in the Atlanta area, but I'm from originally South Georgia, a little town in deep South Georgia near the Florida border. And a good friend of mine died in a car wreck last year, so I had to go to his funeral. And while I was in town, I found out that there was a record store there that wasn't there when I used to live there, so I went and checked it out. And it had a bunch of metal. They had obviously bought someone's collection. And I bought several CDs, no records, several CDs, and one of them was this. Totally sight unseen. I'd never listened to Morgoth. Just one of those bands I had passed over throughout the decades. So I bought this. And yeah, I paid $30 for it. 1993 death metal, $30. And it sucks. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So tell me what I'm missing. I listened to it once when I got it home a few months ago, and it just doesn't do anything for me. It's just very mid. I don't know, man. I just don't fucking care for it. And if someone wants it, I will sell it to you for $30. It's an original press. So Century Media. So, next, I have 2 CDs by Morning Again. Morning Again was/is, they broke up and got back together. They're back together now, I think, a metalcore band from Florida. This is 2 releases. This is both EPs. So you've got Hand of Hope and you've got Martyr. Morning Again played killer metallic hardcore. Metalcore before At the Gates crept in, in the early 2000s. Just heavy, dissonant, dark, evil sounding hardcore. Leaned heavy on Slayer riffs. And just one of those bands I absolutely fucking love. Growing up, I was big into death metal and hardcore and punk rock and black metal. All kind of mingled. But Morning Again was a band that I really, really was attracted to back then. I've never seen them. Never got to see them. Maybe one day, because they're back together. And I think they're back together with a lot of the original members, maybe. They've had a few different lineups. They've had 2 distinct singers. And one is this singer. This one has one singer, and this one has the other singer. The singer on Hand of Hope is Damien. He was in Culture and As Friends Rust. And then who's the guy on Martyr? What's his name? Kevin something? I don't remember. Does it say? Yeah, Kevin Byers. So anyway, if you like evil metallic hardcore with Slayer riffs, you can't go wrong with Morning Again. Fucking rules. I have a bunch of their vinyl too. I have a bunch of 7 inches. They only put out one album. They put out an album called As Tradition Dies Slowly in '98. I have that on LP. Fantastic fucking record. But some of the songs from this are on that re-recorded. So next, Mortis Scold. This is their first album. Dying Remains. American death metal. Kind of middle of the road, just standard American death metal from the 90s. Heavy, groovy, good. I guess you would call them kind of like a C level. They never made a living off of it. They're still around. They're still putting out albums, going on tour. Actually, I designed a tour poster for them for the tour they're on right now. They're on tour with a band from here in Atlanta called Metaphobic. Metaphobic is fucking fantastic. Check them out. They just released a new album on Everlasting Spew, which is the label that my band, Father Foul, is on. Anyway, Mortis Scold, Dying Remains, killer American death metal. I don't know a lot about their discography, but I like this album. I'm pretty sure this is a bootleg. It may not be. I don't know. I bought this. I want to say that I was on tour and bought this at a distro at a show while we were on tour. Okay, so next. I don't know how quickly I will get through these. I don't want to... trying to not do a fucking 30-40 minute video again. But the fucking godfathers of fucking horror, sick horror freak death metal, Mortician. I could probably do a video entirely about Mortician, but I might do that one day and focus on the vinyl. I have every piece of vinyl they've ever released. I might have everything. No, there's a couple things. I have 90% of their discography. I have their demo tape. I have all the LPs. I have all the 7 inches. There might be a couple of things in there I'm missing. Anyway, so I'm going to start with what started me with Mortician, and that's House by the Cemetery. When I started to really, really get heavy into death metal, I was about 15 years old. And I got an issue of Metal Maniacs magazine, and in that issue there was an article about Hacked Up for Barbecue. And it was an article more just about Mortician, but Hacked Up for Barbecue was the new album, or the more recent album at the time. And I was obsessed with horror movies. I still am. Here, let's see if we can see. So all this over here is my collection of several hundred horror movies on VHS. I have hundreds, and then I have a bunch of DVDs, and I have a huge collection of horror movie, like original posters that I don't have hung up because I don't have flat walls in this room, so I have flags. I'm obsessed. I love horror. Little plug, I actually own I've started this just this year. I started it in March. I have a website where I sell horror movie t-shirts and hats. It's all bootlegs. Nobody gives a fuck. But I've got a couple hundred designs for sale of all kinds of fucking obscure horror movies. Full color shirts. They are all printed and fulfilled by a third party, so I don't actually touch the merchandise. I design everything. I maintain the store. But when you order something, it goes to the printing company. They print it. They ship it to you. Shirts usually print within a couple days, and you get your stuff within a week or 10 days. It's called Not of This World. I'll put the link in the description. It's Notofthisworld.store. Please check us out. Check out the Instagram. I'll link that too. It's just a passion project. I love horror. I'm horror obsessed, and I love designing these shirts and hats and merch and shit. All the shirts are printed using direct-to-garment technology. So it's kind of like the shirt is being printed like an inkjet printer. They're not sticky, they're not tacky, they're not heavy. The prints still feel like the shirt. It almost feels like a discharge screen print, but they're bright, they hold up, they don't crack, they don't fade, they don't stick to you when you're wearing them. They're absolutely fantastic. I don't have one sitting here, else I'd show you some samples, but I will in the next video. I might do a whole video about Not of This World. Anyway, check that out. So back to Mortician. So when I'm 15, 16 years old, I'm obsessed with horror movies, getting obsessed with death metal, and I read about Mortician, and I read that they meld the two. So I was like, I need to check this out. And the article focused on the fact that they use a drum machine, shit like that, and which I'd never listened to a band with a drum machine. I didn't really know what that really meant. And then not long after that, I came across this CD. So, funny story. I still lived in South Georgia at the time, and I was visiting family here in the Atlanta area, and I went to the mall, and I was going to go to, like, you know, the Camelot Records or whatever it was in the mall, and as I'm walking in, an older, you know, guy is walking out. Older, he's probably 20, I don't know, older than me. I was a teenager. And I remember he had on like some kind of metal t-shirt and like camo pants and combat boots, and he's walking out, and he had bought this on CD. And I was like, oh, that's that band I just read about. I was like, that's cool. And I went in, I don't know what I bought that day, I don't remember. But cut to not long after that, I'm at my local record store where I lived in Valdosta, Georgia. And we had like a Camelot, and we had a disc jockey, like the chain record stores from the 80s and 90s. But then we had a local used record store called RJ's. And RJ's only existed a few years, around, I don't know, 97 to 02 or something like that. And anytime you went to RJ's, I could find metal CDs. And it was all used, but I bought this at RJ's one day. And this is the original Relapse press of just House by the Cemetery. It's not the version that got packaged together with Zombie Apocalypse. Of course, this came out as a 7-inch originally, which I have a 7-inch too. But this was the first Mortician recording I ever bought. And to this day, my favorite Mortician song is the first song on this album, Defiler of the Dead. Which, if you know Mortician, all of their songs are based on horror movies, and most of their songs have a sample attached to them. And the joke kind of is that, you know, a lot of the songs, the sample is longer than the song is, because they're definitely like in the death grind vein, really short songs. They have songs that are 30, 40 seconds long. I think the longest Mortician song is 4 minutes. What is the longest Mortician song? It's Necrocannibal. Anyway, House by the Cemetery, put this in, and I was floored. They are the heaviest death metal band from a pure sonic standpoint. Like, they are a weight on your chest. They are just a steamroller. And yeah, the drum machine is on 10 the entire time. It definitely sounds fake. It's playing at inhuman speeds, but you get used to that really quickly, and it really becomes like part of the Mortician sound. But it's just non-stop, just fucking grinding, brutal, fucking sick death metal with horror movie samples. And it's fantastic. I absolutely fucking love them. Quickly became obsessed with this CD. I listened to it so many times when I was 16 years old. And since then, I've listened to it so many goddamn times, almost 30 years later. So, absolutely adore this. This is my absolute favorite recording, my Mortician favorite release. I got to see Mortician for the first time in 2000, the year 2000, and I bought a House by the Cemetery shirt that I still own, and it's absolutely falling apart. It's tissue paper thin, it's soft, the armpits are all ripped out, there's holes all in it. I fucking love it, and I still wear it all the time. So, Mortician, House by the Cemetery, it's amazing. Okay, next, I'm not going to do these all in order because I don't really remember the order, but I know that next after that came Chainsaw Dismemberment. So Chainsaw Dismemberment came out in 1999, and I remember eagerly awaiting it being released, and it was their second full-length. House by the Cemetery is an EP, if you didn't catch that. It came out on 7-inch to begin with. It's an EP. But Chainsaw Dismemberment is their second full-length, and this is... I'm trying to show it without the ring light fucking reflecting off of it. What if I did that? Chainsaw Dismemberment is the heaviest death metal recording of all time. There is none more heavy. They tuned to like G or something stupid, G sharp or fucking, you know, something just inhuman. And it's barely to the point of like the guitar recognizing being tuned. And if you've never heard Mortician, it is just, it's down-tuned, hyper fast, hyper groovy, death grind. Will Romer's vocals are absolutely the lowest, most inhuman sound a death metal vocalist has ever made. It's just a rumble, and the bass is not audible. It's just a floppy, just rumble of distortion, but that's what Mortician is. And then everything is horror movie samples. Now, Chainsaw Dismemberment, there's 28 songs on this, so it's, definitely packed with these quick death grind songs, horror movie samples. One of my favorite parts of listening to Mortician is picking out what movies the samples are from. And one thing that Mortician has always been famous for is their thanks list. So that's where they thank all the bands, and they literally thank every death metal band that existed in 1999. But this record is fucking phenomenal. I remember waiting on it coming out, and I'm pretty sure I bought this. We're listening to Exumed. I went to see Exumed on the Contamination Tour, the Relapse Contamination Tour, touring on Gore Metal, their first album. At that show was a Relapse distro because it was a Relapse sponsored tour, and that's when I bought this. And that show was in Tallahassee, Florida, which was a little more than an hour from where I lived. And I remember driving home and just blasting this on repeat the whole way home. And it was probably like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm fucking struggling to stay awake. I was like 18 years old. Phenomenal fucking album. I mean, none more heavy, none more brutal. It's just amazing. So, let's see here. Where are we at? 19 minutes. Hacked Up for Barbecue. So this is their first album. I ended up getting this after those two. This was probably the third thing I ended up coming across. One of the best fucking artworks of all time. Wes Benscoter painting. So iconic. Hacked Up for Barbecue, of course. That's a line from the intro to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Which, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. I have a standee of it from the original standee. That's a cardboard stand-up thing I bought last year. And then there's the original poster next to it. Disregard the old fucking office chair sitting there. So, anyway, in the intro to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, they say, hacked up for barbecue. So that's where this came from. This record, while not as sonically dense and as heavy as Chainsaw Dismemberment, it's the heaviest fucking thing that ever came out in 1994. It's unreal. Or 96. Yeah, 96. Not 94. 96. Recorded and mixed July 96, so it came out late 96. Just 24 songs of just the most brutal, sick death grind. You got to get past the drum machine. You got to get past the just inhuman fucking audible sound of it. But there's something special about Mortician. And here's the thing. You know, when I got into Mortician, a lot of people kind of looked at them ironically. You know, it's like, oh, they're Mortician. It's kind of a joke. But it's not. I mean, they are 100% serious about what they do. And it's funny. They fell off. You know, if you know the story, in 01 or 02, Will Romer got in some trouble on tour in Europe. He got arrested, all this. He had, you know, kicked out of the country, had to come back to America. They put out an album in 04, which was right here, Reanimated Dead Flesh. And as to date, this is the last album they put out in 2004. And then after that, they went silent for years and years and years. And, you know, Mortician was not a popular band. They definitely had, you know, diehard underground fans, and they were respected in their scene. But a lot of people viewed them, you know, kind of ironically. And then something happened 4 or 5 years ago. And they started playing shows more regularly. And the new generation of death metal fans, which, don't get me started, latched onto them. And they're enjoying this renaissance now that is just unmatched. Mortician is so fucking popular. I saw Mortician twice years ago in 2000, probably both times were in the year 2000. And then I did not see them again until 2023. They played Mass Destruction Festival here in Atlanta a couple years ago, and people went apeshit for them. And I was right up front the whole time. It was incredible. They play all the samples live, and it was just fucking absolutely phenomenal. But then I saw them, 2022. Yeah, I saw them twice in 2022, like a month apart. I saw them here in Atlanta, and then the next month I went to New York to see them. I went and saw them at St. Vitus Bar in Brooklyn, and it was absolutely packed. I mean, uncomfortably packed. If you've ever been to St. Vitus was a smaller club. It probably fit 300 people. They've since closed. They closed because of fucking fire safety reasons, I think. But St. Vitus was a metal club in Brooklyn. It was open for 10 or 12 years or something. And if you've ever been there, it's not very big, and there's one way in and one way out. There's only a front door, and it's real tight when you come in. Like, you walk in and you're in the bar, and then it goes to this little room, and it opens up into the bigger room. But it was absolutely packed to the gills. And it was so packed that, like, I get uncomfortable in situations like that. So instead of going into the actual room and watching them, I watched them from the bar over everybody else. And they were great. I love Mortician, but it was also kind of like there was too many people there for me to be comfortable. And I'm lucky I had seen them fucking front row, dead center a month before. But they're enjoying this renaissance now that is just insane. So let's see. Reanimated Dead Flesh was their last record, 04. Rumors have said they've been working on one for the past 20 years. And who knows if they'll ever see the light of day. They have added a drummer. That's the other thing. They have the drum machine. Every time I've ever seen them, they've had a live drummer. I'm not sure if they've ever played a show with the drum tracks. Maybe they have. So let me see. The core of Mortician is Roger and Will. You know, Will's the original member, founding member. Roger has been playing in the band for 30 years. He was not the original guitar player, but he has been the guitar player on every album ever released since you know, this, essentially. And or since House by the Cemetery. He was on this too. And this was 95, so that was the year before. But They had some drummers. They had an original drummer to begin with that passed away in the 90s, and then they had different drummers throughout the years. But for a long time, in their original heyday in the early 2000s, Roger would play drums live, and then Ronnie from Malignancy played guitar. So he was the drummer and guitar player. And, you know, he'd play drums live, even though they still used the drum machine on the albums. Now, cut to now, 2020s, they have a drummer, Sam, from, Sam was in Morpheus to Sins, a bunch of other bands, but he's their live drummer. They're awesome live. So they've been working on an album. It'll apparently that album will have live drums. So let's see. Before Reanimated Dead Flesh, which this was 04, it's great. It sounds like Mortician. That's the thing about anything. You can start anywhere with Mortician. Find a Mortician album and listen to it if you want to check them out. They're all good. This one was, they were on Relapse also for years. They were one of Relapse's like big bands. They left Relapse in like 02 or 03, and then they put this out themselves on Mortician Records. It was distributed by Crash Music. This one is a little more raw sonically compared to others, and it's probably budgetary reasons. But it's great. It sounds like fucking Mortician. Darkest Day of Horror came out in 01 or 02, somewhere in there. I don't remember exactly. Recorded and mixed 02, so it probably came out in late 02. A lot of people say that this was, you know, they hit their pinnacle. This is the apex of Mortician. It's heavy and brutal with the best production they ever had. And it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. I mean, far and away, my favorite Mortician album is going to be Chainsaw Dismemberment. My favorite release is House by the Cemetery. But there's not one that I like any worse or better than others after that. But Darkest Day of Horror absolutely fucking rules. This is a good place to start if you want to hear them at their pinnacle. Okay, Zombie Apocalypse was an EP that came out in late 90s, early 2000s. Let's see, is there a year here? 98. So this was in between the first two albums. Again, it's an EP. Came out on 7-inch. I have that 7-inch as well. I actually traded any Archgoat fans. Archgoat, the black metal band from Finland, love Archgoat. But I had the Angel Cunt picture disc, and I traded that for this 7-inch to someone years ago. Because I love Mortician more than Archgoat. But again, this is an EP. It's zombie movie themed, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead themed. 10 songs, and it's phenomenal. You can find this packaged together with House by the Cemetery a lot. They got re-released together. Fantastic. So then, I am missing one album. Domain of the Dead. Domain of Death. I have Domain of Death on LP. I don't have it on CD. It came out in between Chainsaw Dismemberment and Darkest Day of Horror. When I saw them in 2000, it was about to come out, and it wasn't ready yet for the tour, so they had homemade copies of it that said Domain of Death Tour Edition. It was just a black cover. And I wish I had bought one because they're rare now. I'm going to have to buy one day because I'm a completist when it comes to shit like Mortician. But at the time, at 18, I was like, I don't want that. I didn't have that collector mindset then. I wish I had bought it. And somehow I never got the CD when it came out, but I bought the LP years later. So I have it on LP. And again, it's right in there. It's probably my least favorite. I love them all, but it's probably the one I go to the least. It's the one I listen to the least is Domain of Death. This is From the Casket. This is a double disc of demo and live stuff that Roy from Necroharmonic, shout out Necroharmonic, shout out Roy, put out a few years ago. This is 2 CDs of all the stuff leading up to their first album. So demo 90, rehearsal 89, rehearsal 90, rehearsal 90, live 1990, live 1990, live 1990, live 1990. So back here, I just knocked all the CDs over. You see that poster, that cream colored poster? That is a Day of Death 1990 in Buffalo, New York. And that set is on here. So if you're a Mortician fan, this is essential. It's everything they did from their inception up until the early 90s. I worked with Roy to do an LP layout of this a few years ago, and it never came to fruition. I'm not sure where we're at in that process, but I'd love to see this come out on LP with my design work on it. So Roy, let's do that. Let's finish that. This is essential. Let me pick all this stuff up here. Hold on. I have a huge stack of CDs, and the CDs are stacked up on top of horror VHS tapes. It's a fucking madhouse in here, guys. I actually went through my CDs a few months ago. Let's see, I have a big CD, a wall, and drums, but I have a wall of CDs there, and those shelves are full. And then beside them in the corner, I probably had 500 more CDs stacked up. And I went through everything, and I pulled stuff that I had gotten through trades, or gotten through when I used to operate a distro. I would get, trade items, and I would always keep something. And then I had CDs that people gave me, and friends gave me, and bands gave me, and then shit that I bought. And I had a lot of stuff that was still sealed that I got through trades that I never was going to listen to. And I purged at least 500 CDs. But they are all in crates in my closet. Eventually I'm going to have to do something with them. I did the same thing with tapes. So like all my horror VHS tapes are there on these shelves, but then above them are cassette tapes. And I probably have 600 or 700 cassette tapes. And I did the same thing. I just spilled my coffee. I purged a couple hundred cassette tapes of stuff that just I had accumulated. So I need to do like a big sale one day and get rid of it all. I hate fucking shipping and mailing and shipping shit, packaging and shipping shit. I do enough of that with my band. Anyway, I've already gone way too long. From the Casket, demo and early live stuff. Get it. Speaking of live, Zombie Massacre Live. So this is them at their height in the early 2000s. 37 live songs, a couple different sets. I think live in Texas and live in Europe. Just fucking phenomenal. Yeah, you've got like live in Holland, live in Houston, Texas, Los Angeles, California, France, California, San Diego. Same layout, all Will, Roger, and Ron. Live drums, samples in place. Great in-between song stage banter from Will. It's fucking essential fucking album, live album. I love live albums. I talked about that in the last video. I buy these Slayer bootlegs. I love live shit. And then last, there's a lot of people that are not Mortician fans, but they prefer this. This is called Final Bloodbath Session. This is Mortician with Roger playing drums, studio recordings of older Mortician songs, but with a live drummer. And there's a lot of people that they prefer this because it is Mortician without the drum machine. So this is what they would sound like in a studio setting with a live drummer. Came out in 2001, and it's songs from, so at that time it would have been the first, the demos in the first two albums. So it's phenomenal. It's great. It's fucking completely fucking unhinged, brutal, heavy as fuck. There are no samples on this, but there's a version, it's probably on YouTube, where someone took each song and found the sample from the CD and affixed the samples to it and then re-uploaded it. And the person who did that is the bass player of my band, Father Without. So go find that if he's still got it somewhere on YouTube. Fuck, we're 35 minutes, and I'm not going to edit this, so good luck. Let's talk about all this shit. Let's talk about Mortician and how fucking amazing they are, and if you don't like them, you can fuck off. Nothing else new since the other day. Listen to death metal, listen to black metal, be cool, and I'll talk to you guys later.